up in smoke. I can see it miles down the road. I'ma keep going for the gold. Only question, which way do I go?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the By the Goal Line podcast. We're happy to be here. This is a brand new podcast that we all just decided to create at 10:45 on a Sunday night to talk about Premier League action, Premier League football, soccer, whatever you call it, wherever you are around the world. All of us are in the continent of North America, so on this podcast, we're going to call it soccer or football. You'll hear both, but no, we're talking about the same sport. We're not talking about hand egg. We all support different teams, very different teams. Some of us don't even support a team, but that's okay because their input is still very much necessary onto the topic. As long as they watch the games and keep in touch, that is entirely fine. I'm joined today here with my good friends. First, Alexander Stratus. How you doing, Alexander?
Yes. Hello, Matthew, veteran podcaster. I'm so honored to be here with you, man. You're going to carry this. It's going to be freaking fantastic.
Great to hear. Great to hear. I'm also here with Ian Gall. How are you doing, Ian?
How we doing, Matt? We're doing pretty good tonight. Sunday night. Something better to do.
Good. Went to church today, I think. And Luke Mead. How you doing, Luke?
I haven't been to church in 10 years.
Woo! Excited to be here, guys?
I can't wait to be here, man. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So why don't we just jump right into it, okay? How about we jump right into the action? Today, Tottenham 1, Manchester City 0. We have a Spurs fan in the house. How are we feeling, Luke?
Okay, so let's just get right into a quick little discussion about the one of our own, Harry Kane, 267th goal for the club today. Makes him the greatest player to ever wear the shirt, and it solidifies him as the greatest player in the Prem as of today. So, I mean, it's a great performance. As a Spurs fan, there's nothing else much to ask for. A win at home against the champions, record-breaking. It's a great game. It's a great game all around.
I feel like the title of best player in the Premier League is a bit of a rambunctious take, considering that.
I have to say that's still up for debate.
Doesn't know what he's talking about. Tottenham did pick up the win today, 1-0 on City, which helps my Arsenal. Stay at the top of the table by 5 points with the game in hand over City. We do have to play them twice, but today definitely helped. So thank you, Tottenham. Our business is done. I appreciate it. But as we did see, Harry Kane scored a goal in the 15th minute to down City. Did we like what we saw today of Tottenham, Luke?
Great performance. I'm gonna be serious now. Harry Kane played great. There's not much to say. I mean, he's field general. Literally every single time he's on the field, everything is running through him, pass to him. He's moving to the wings. He's cutting through. He's always there. Kulusevski, he's always good. Son, everyone probably seen Son is not being himself this year. He had a good game in the FA Cup. The energy's there, but I think his lack of scoring has caused him a little bit of less confidence, which is
confidence drop. Yeah,
it's a confidence drop. I mean, he won the Golden Boot, and now he has 4 goals this season. Not great. Emerson Royale, it's not great.
That's trash.
Emerson Royale played
4. I was gonna say, from what I watched, I only caught a little bit of the game, but from what I watched, Emerson Royale looked.
We gotta respect Emerson Royale because Emerson Royale
really
gets
good
clowned.
today.
We know how Madly Emerson gets clowned. It's pretty embarrassing.
Well, yeah,
he's
not
Twitter,
good. He's usually the worst player on the field.
Usually a very bad player.
If you go on Twitter, you're going to see the clownage. I see it a lot, and I'm part of the clownage. It sucks. And it's crazy how as soon as we buy a right wing back to replace Emerson, he puts on the game of his life. But Jack Grealish by Bubba Boo 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 Boo.
It's okay. He looks like Kieran Knightley. We can say it. He looks exactly like Kieran
There's nothing wrong with pocketed by Jack. No one knew him for the Euros. And yeah, I mean, Emerson played great. He scored a goal, and that's it. That's so much you asked for. The defense was good. Sorry,
I like that.
Going on a rant.
I like that little stat you had a little bit ago where ever since you guys have come to your new stadium, City has not beaten you there, regardless of their position in the table. I
don't think City scored there. City's gone 5 straight games scoreless at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, since we moved to the new stadium in 2019, we played them 4 times, and they haven't beaten us once, which is a testament to the atmosphere. It's a testament to the just ability of the team to stand behind just each other, and it's a great performance. Even a game without Antonio Conte. We didn't have Conte today. It's not our first time playing without Conte. We played in the Champions League one game where he got suspended because of the Tuchel handshake. But yeah, Stellini ball. It works. We beat City.
There was a bit of a decision that was considered questionable on the City end of things. They benched Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden for this match.
And Gundogan.
So that was a bit of a shaky decision on Pep's end. What do you guys think about that?
Who they have in instead?
Mahrez and Jack started at the wing, so Foden was there, and then midfield was
Lewis.
Oh yeah,
They had him at
Lewis
right
is at
back.
left back.
They had him there, but then they had some odd shift in formation.
I know
Did
Bernardo
Phillips
played.
play? Did Phillips
No, Bernardo played.
Okay, I mean, you don't bench KDB, but
And
Bernardo,
Rodri
I
played.
think, is a really good player.
Bernardo played, and so did Rodri.
Yeah, so how do we feel about that from Pep?
I mean, I think it's just Pep overthinking again. He has a tendency to do it in games that matter. Look at the 2021 Champions League final against Chelsea, where he played Fernandinho at center back, had Gundogan as his main defensive midfielder, and just didn't play with an out-and-out striker. And he just has a bad tendency to just overthink and play. It seems to play weird lineups during these big games that mean a lot. And
Yeah,
I think it's hurt City.
They do have a bench full of starters, so I am a little curious as to what that locker room is like, whether or not a lot of these players are willing to accept these roles as everyday bench players when, Pep will throw them in and out of the starting lineup as consistently as he does.
I just want to know where Calvin Phillips is. What happened to that guy? He signed for City, big money over the summer. I don't think I've seen him once.
They don't really need him, in my honest opinion. I don't see why City goes
Then
out.
why buy him? Why buy him if you don't need him?
Because they can, and that's the bad thing about today's league. You have all these clubs with all this money that go out and buy these players.
Get richer.
I mean, hey, your Newcastle, I feel like we'll eventually be at that point because of the financial takeover.
I want to bring up a point, which I think I heard on Sky Sports or something, which is the Prem is becoming like a little bit too much, like a little bit too dominant. And I think it's interesting that like when the idea of a Super League comes up, everybody's immediately shut it down. That's like ridiculous. No, like there's just the rich making more money. But what does the Prem become? I mean, like you look at teams like Nottingham Forest and bottom of the table, buying 30 players this league this year. Like
Nottingham just got Navas.
That's what I'm saying. Like people are choosing to come to like bottom tier Prem teams over like a team in Italy, a team in Spain. It's like
I think England's I saw a stat that was like the Premier League outspent the other top 5 leagues combined.
I mean, Chelsea alone.
Obviously, that's Chelsea, but still, like.
But like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to play with the best and like going to the best league? Like, if everything else is boring, then be with the big dogs.
It's not entirely boring. They all have Champions League in their sights, and honestly, that's why a lot of players join the bigger clubs. But in the Premier League, I feel like it's more of a competitive balance throughout the entire league, opposed to when you're playing in Spain. There are 3 or 4 teams every year who's at the top of the table every time.
Spain, you got Real, Barca, and Atletico. You can guarantee on those 3 being the top 3 almost every year.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, the teams that are in the Champions League fluctuate almost every season. Tottenham were in it. They qualified for this season's Champions League, but it looks like they're not gonna for next season. It's a little weird.
They're on the fringe. They're right there. I mean, Newcastle is still 4th.
Arsenal.
Arsenal
did not qualify last season, but this season I could almost guarantee that they're going to qualify. They should have it in the bag. United, you're never sure about. They're on a really hot run of form right now. I'm pretty sure they're 3rd place in the league. Chelsea are another one. Liverpool, they're not meeting expectations this year. So I guess you do never really know whether or not the team that you signed for is going to make it. And Nottingham, who are making a ton of signings and look very bright for the future, maybe one day they will be in the top 4, and maybe one day they will win for the Champions League. Will make it to the Champions League. So I guess you never really know. And in opposed to La Liga, they have those three sides, and then 4th place is really up for grabs every year. Of course, it's changed since Ronaldo, Messi, and such have left the league, and Barcelona have been in some financial issues, struggle.
Gotta
Shit.
bring up
Yeah.
a point.
I mean, even
Time to
look
bring
at
up a quick
Germany.
question.
Germany, you can almost guarantee that Bayern's going to win the title every single year.
I mean, yeah, they've
Yeah.
won like the last 10. I have a
And
quick
same with
question.
France. You can damn near guarantee PSG is going to win it. Obviously, you've had teams like
Yeah,
Lille
that's-
and Monaco win it in the
broken.
past, but it's France's PSG's
Just
league.
yeah, at this point, just have a Super League. Honestly, it's too predictable.
Well, the thing with the Super League is that it's all out of conference play, and it's just another matchup each
Yeah,
week,
it's just
which
it's
Just more
just
Champions
pointless.
League. That's all we need. We just
It
need
would
players
just
don't
be
want
like
to do that.
it would just be like soccer's like NFL.
And if
That's
you're in the
all it would be. They're being
if you're in the Premier League, you got to play your Premier League match. You got to play your if you qualify for the Champions Europa League match. You got to play your Carabao Cup league match. You got to play your FA Cup league match, and then
Yeah.
you got to play your Super League match. So it's like that's 6 matches, and these players already have a hard enough time staying fit through all 38 games. So it's like why add another one, especially if
this
it's
year.
going to
It's
be that
especially
competitive.
bad. This year is especially bad because of the Winter World Cup.
Yeah,
Right.
There's just
and
so many games so close together.
also the Conference League. I also forgot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
did.
Luke, you had a question.
Yeah, because I don't know if we kind of got off topic. I want to bring it back to the whole thing with Nottingham Forest and the idea of people joining a team like that in the English league just because, like we said, it's the English league, it's the most competitive. So they made 30 signings this year, which is like never been seen before. But do you guys think that that's like, I know like I'm bringing up a guy I talk about, but Thogden, I'm pretty sure made a point, like bringing up all these guys that have never played before onto one team. Like, is that beneficial now? Like, even in the future, like this is not like career mode where like all these guys are just gonna be like good because they're over, like they're good players. Like these guys haven't played before at all, and now there's 30 guys. You need only 11 for field now. Like, there's another 19 that aren't playing. Like, is that like how is that beneficial to anybody?
Well, I like what Nottingham is doing, in my honest opinion, because I feel like a lot of teams make the mistake of getting promoted to the Premier League and then just sitting around. They sign a few guys and then they kind of just expect it to work from there, which we've seen over and over. It fails. Wolverhampton's a big one right now, who are,
They're
really
down
looking
in the
at
dumps. Yeah,
they're looking really bad and they're looking like they're gonna fall back down to the championship. And that's because when they came up to the Premier League, they were on fire. I think they finished in 8th place their
they
first year in
finished
the Prem.
7th that first
Yeah.
year they were in the Prem. They were in 7th. They would have made Conference League. It was around at that time.
And then you get satisfied and you run out of your money. And then what do? You do nothing. What I like about Nottingham is that they're bringing all these players in and they're building a foundation built on competition that no matter who's in front of you, you feel like you can beat them out, you can start and eventually, become a regular everyday starter. I like that. I've seen clubs who come in and then buy their starters and then have nothing else, no depth. I'm an Arsenal fan. I struggled with that for years now, where we have our starting 5. We had Aubameyang, we had Lacazette, we had Xhaka, we had Leno, we had everyone, and there was no depth, there was no bench, so that when one of these players
Guy
would come
Elneny
out,
coming off the bench.
Barely
and
had
then
a
he's still
starting.
around. Not the biggest fan, but players come in and then they go out. And then what? And then you're left with your Reece Nelsons and you're left with your Florian Balagans and you're left with your Ainsley Maitland.
I don't know any of those guys.
And your Socrates is
Quite
and it's
Oh no, him I know. That's my boy.
Socrates.
You keep him out of your mouth.
Socrates.
and your team is
that's the boy.
is entirely broken apart and they don't know what to do because they didn't have a competitive foundation and they had a bad manager in Unai Emery who seems to be doing well everywhere except for Arsenal. But
Yeah.
Arsenal curse, man. Arsenal curse.
one of the big flaws about Emery was that he switched up his rotation every game. He switched up his lineups, his formation, and they feel like that really costed us a lot in the end. So, I mean, I can see where you're coming from because it definitely is weird to have all these players come in and have no one guaranteed a starting role. But I mean, that's kind of good because I feel like a lot of people just assume that they'll sign 11 players and those are the starters. If you sign more players and have them compete, I feel like you're getting the best out of them. So
Also, don't forget injuries. Injuries always happen. You need
True.
quality depth, especially in the Premier League.
True.
That's my thing with Nottingham. What I like about it is quality is always going to win. If you see a guy doing good in training and the guy who started last week isn't, what reason do you have to start that guy, the guy who started last week, over the person who's been doing well in training? It creates competition. To go with what Matt said, it creates competition. It creates an atmosphere where you constantly need to keep working to keep your spot. and the better quality players are always going to win out. And I think I think that'll keep Nottingham up this year. Honestly, I think they'll stay up, maybe just barely, but I think they will find a way to stay
Yeah,
in
I
the
think they'll
Premier
stay
League.
up too.
Just keep the
And
capital in soccer.
as the season has progressed, they were down. They were bad at the start of the year. They were in a relegation spot, I think, for majority like the first half of the season, and now they're up in 13th place.
They're just now like fighting out of it.
They could crack the top 10 with how tight everything is down there. They have a lot of good players. They have Morgan
Yeah, I
Gibbs-White,
like
they have
their
Taylor
team.
Navas, they have Lodi, they have
They have
Danilo.
Lingard, Jesse
They have-
Lingard. I don't think they've gotten an away win since November of last year. 2
The
months.
fans were actually chanting.
I know there was
Marsh has
a
got to
month
go
break,
today.
but like
The
Jesus,
Leeds fans
dude.
were chanting that Marsh has to go.
I mean, they're in
hurts,
a
but
ninth. They're in
Hey, maybe they can come to
17th
the
place.
USMNT.
They're in
Marsha?
17th place. I mean,
Marsha.
I really don't know. Like, I mean, you look at their roster. It's not star-studded, but I mean, like
Quality
this is kind of
players.
the point. What you do when you're in a position like this is just fire the manager. It's just what's gonna happen. I think Marsh is the next to be fired, which is unfortunate, but I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I think.
I was gonna say I feel
Marsh
like
will get the sack, but I think the next to be fired is going to be Moyes at West Ham. They're just bad.
I was gonna say about Marsh. I feel like he just has a fear of adding quality, in fear of getting rid of players that he knows are already half decent. I'm gonna say Patrick Bamford is an example. He's a quality striker. Is he gonna help you finish top 10 in the Premier League? I don't think so.
No.
I don't believe he's clinical enough. I don't think he's quick enough. I feel like he has a lot of flaws to his game, and I feel like at least some competition should have been brought in over the winter window, considering how many players were up for sale and how much overall money was spent in a winter window.
Knowing him, the competition would have been like Jesse Zardes, though. So
Yeah. And I mean, the defense looks, shaky. They don't have many competitive players. They have Sinisterra on the wing, Tyler Adams at defensive mid. But
you got McKennie, Adams, and they brought in McKennie. But
yeah, Firpo,
where does
Aronson, and
McKennie fit in
McKennie.
that system?
Firpo, Aronson, and McKennie all started on the bench this game.
Firpo's bad. I understand that. Firpo's
I know Aronson is hurt or sick.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean
they're a confusing bunch.
Fix said confusion should be a little bit concerning to Leeds fans.
I like their team though. Like players, like I mean, like it sounds so dumb, but like I've done Leeds FIFA careers and Leeds on OSM, and I let's like talk about their players, like Somerville.
OSM.
I mean,
They're all
Melier.
good Americans.
Sponsor us OSM.
I think Somerville's a good player. I mean, he only has 4 goals this year, but Son had 4 goals. I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll fit somewhere else, but I think Melier is a good goalie. I think that he could play somewhere else, and I think he could do maybe not in England, but
I think Melly is a prem quality goalie. Maybe
I
not
think
for like a top team, but I think he could be successful at like a mid-table side. Someone a
think they
little
have
better than Leeds.
a lot of good parts.
And
Um,
I feel like I should discuss the elephant in the room, which is number 1 team in the Premier League, Arsenal, going into Everton and taking the L on a James Tarkowski goal. Not entirely sure what happened. If you look at the stats, Arsenal dominated possession. They dominated the passes, but the counterattack bit us in the behind a little bit here. They were faster. They looked like they wanted it more. They looked like they wanted to win more. And you could just tell in the attack because Arsenal would build up, and then I feel like they would settle for a shot that doesn't normally go in. That kind of bothered me. Zinchenko, who has never scored a Premier League goal, took our 2 most crucial shots of the entire match, which I wasn't entirely sure about. I love Zinchenko. I just don't like him in that situation. And
Bless you.
the lack of quality up front from Nketiah, I feel like it's kind of starting to come out. And I've always had this theory that, backups are supposed to be, backups. And Nketiah is a fantastic backup for 3-4 games. Once you start getting into that territory of him becoming a regular starter, things start to look a lot more dim and dull. This happened last year, towards the end of the season when Lacazette went out, and we brought in Eddie, and we beat Chelsea. He had 2 goals, and then as the season went on, he just became worse and worse. And that goes for all the backups. That goes for him. And that goes for
The other guy, nice. All right.
What are you talking
We're all
about?
lost, pal.
you gotta
What are you
edit
talking
that
about?
out.
No worries. You're trying to remember backups.
It goes for him and goes for
The Egyptian.
what El Neni?
El Neni?
Yeah, El Neni. I don't know why I blanked on El Neni. We're gonna edit that out. Yeah, it always comes back to him and El Neni. I feel like
edit in some Jeopardy music, you know.
just cut it out. Just cut it out.
I want to bring up
I don't know
a
if I
point,
want to edit through this whole thing.
quick point, and this is going
You
to be
have
very
to.
rare if we continue this, of me defending Arsenal because I think that their fans suck. I think that everything about
Wow.
them sucks. But to be fair, they've lost one game, and I think a lot of their fans are panicking. I know it was against Everton, who are they lost what, that second game?
This is their second.
Okay,
Well,
my
first
bad.
was
They lost
T
it.
United at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, right. Oh, right. So they lost their second game. I know it's to a relegation team.
Brennan Johnson's a baller.
Okay. Well, I think Chris Wood is half decent player for the side that he's on. I just don't think he was, fit for Newcastle system, whatever system that is that they run. I don't like it, but
Eddie Ball. We
I know
love Eddie.
I know someone here really likes it. And
Yeah,
also
I mean, to go with your point about the quality, just real fast. I
no
mean,
problem.
I'm a Newcastle fan. We're sitting in fourth. Why are we still bringing Jacob Murphy off the bench in clutch time? Like, he's not a Champions League quality player. We're in a Champions League spot. You need that quality depth if you really want to keep yourself in those positions to succeed.
And you guys did make some signings over the winter. Anthony Gordon was a big
It
controversial
was just
one.
Anthony Gordon, really,
Yeah.
and some youth like right back from West Ham, or Harrison Ashby. Heard good things about him. I don't know. I don't really know anything about him though. So
Yeah, and that I feel like is a half-decent move. I'm surprised you didn't go for more, considering the spot that you're in. You're in a very similar situation to Arsenal last year. I know I keep bringing them up, but
we were after Enzo Fernandez for a little bit, but we didn't want to pay what Chelsea paid, and I
Yeah.
understand it. But let them get themselves in trouble with FFP.
yeah. And overall, there was a pretty interesting week of Premier League action this week. Nottingham won. They beat Leeds 1-0. We just talked about Nottingham.
We got to talk about Leeds. We got to talk about Leeds because we're American. Love Marsh. Love McKennie, who now is there. Love Aronson. Love Adams.
Love
but
Adams.
These kids, I know you're talking about Nketiah, but the guy against who they played, they played United. He had 2 goals, right? He had a brace against United.
Yeah.
I mean, is he probably not as good as Jesus, but they play well. The team plays well. Yeah, I just think it was one bad performance. They're away, which is never easy, especially at Goodison, which is crazy atmosphere, even when the team sucks. You watch videos of like buses coming in and then like the pyro and everything is going off the blue.
They're throwing flares at them.
Right. Like it's a big atmosphere. It's one game and you guys still have a 5-point lead. So I don't know. I don't think there's much to worry about right now. But I think the race is a little closer than
I'm
I
not
do have
trying
a question. How much longer is Jesus out for?
They say by March he should be back. I looked at Google, which I know isn't always the most reliable source, and I saw February 28th as a return date. I'm not entirely sure.
So March.
Yeah, so I'm not dogging on Nketiah or anything. I feel like he's a great backup, but I do not think he can be a consistent starter for Arsenal. I don't think he brings what Jesus brought. I think he can score goals for fun. Obviously, I think he's a great player.
Just for funsies.
Do I think he's going to start on a Premier League title winning side? No, I don't think he brings that type of dynamic that Jesus brings. Jesus opens up the field just much more, and everybody's seen it. Martinelli's lack of input to the game. Xhaka's lack of input
He
to the game.
cannot ISO. He does not have an ISO package.
These aren't players who do it on their own. These are players who were helped greatly by Gabriel Jesus, and him being out greatly hurts the lineup. And I feel like Nketiah's legs can only carry him for so long before, his backup tendencies start to come out. And we saw one against Everton where he shot the ball and it went 20 feet over the net from about 5 feet away. So I mean, we're patiently waiting for Jesus to come back, and I'm just glad that City dropped points. Newcastle dropped points, and we're still as far in first place as we were yesterday. So
true.
We're not in the title charge. Don't worry about us.
I know. All right, top 3 teams.
Trey, you want to wrap it up?
Oh,
I
we're
have
fourth.
one last thing,
United
Trey.
passed us.
All right, go.
One last thing, quick. Where do you think the top 4 ends? End of the season. Quick. Just give your 4 teams, and we'll call it.
All right, I'm gonna say
Does it have to be in order or just the teams?
Start from 4. Everyone say 4, and we'll say our 3. We'll say our 2. We'll say.
all right, number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with Tottenham.
I'm going Spurs, bro.
I'll also say Spurs.
I'll hop on the bandwagon.
Good men. Okay, 3.
All right. I feel like this one's gonna be a bit of an unpopular pick. I'm gonna say City. I'm gonna say City fall to 3rd place.
I like that. I'm gonna go with him. I like that.
Oh,
A bit of
that
an
is so
unpopular
bad.
opinion and a bit of a hot take.
That is so bad, bro.
Man United's coming in too, bro.
But
They're playing so well. It's just so
No, United is 3.
You just-
United is 3. Right, Ian?
United
What do you
3.
think? Okay.
United 3.
all right, and then of course we all have Arsenal at 1. Let's go.
Well, what about 2nd place?
Second, I have
What about
I have
second
Arsenal
place?
in second
Yeah.
place.
Arsenal in 2nd.
I'm gonna go with United in 2nd, and just to stay loyal, I'm gonna keep Arsenal in 1st.
Yes.
I'll say I got City first, Arsenal second, United
If you-
3rd, Tottenham
All right,
4th.
that's wrong.
Newcastle just missed out on top 4.
I know what I said is very,
Where is Luke?
very,
I think it's a
very
great
debatable,
thing. I have no idea what you're complaining
and it's
about.
just fun. It's fun to say these things. And
No, it's
United have
accurate
been
as well.
good. Tottenham got a big win against City today, and maybe Pep is doing his
Zero
classic
trust.
overthink move. So I'm gonna go for Tottenham, City, United, Arsenal. This could be entirely
enough.
backwards by the time we.
All right.
Come
So
game.
Yeah,
of
we're
the
gonna
season.
all be really wrong and look back on
There you
this.
have
Like,
it.
wow, we're
All right.
stupid.
we got our
Does
picks
any-
in. We got our comments.
Anybody have any final points they'd like to make before I wrap up?
Spurs are going to win the Champions League. Call
All
it
right.
there.
Anybody
Spurs are
have
falling
any?
down to 6th place. I lied.
Anybody have any
Okay.
knowledgeable points they would like to make before I ended up here?
Leeds is gonna jump up 2
Um,
places, and yeah.
Leeds are going to jump 2 places from 14th to 12th. All right.
They're in
big take.
17. They're in 17.
Hot take.
Oh, my fault. 17 to 15.
Liverpool and Chelsea will both miss out on European football this year.
Wow.
I can get behind that, considering they're very close
Very
to the
bad.
bottom half of very close to the bottom half of the table right now.
Klopp is being fired this season.
That is a good one.
I
I don't
can
know if they
see
would
it.
fire him this season as much as in the
Tuchel
summertime.
taking over for Klopp is definitely in the script.
Tuchel, huh?
Okay,
I
let's
don't know.
let's
Yeah, we
wrap
can
it
go on
up.
for hours.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the By the Goal Line podcast, our first episode. We appreciate it. We'll definitely be back for more. This was a lot of fun to do, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. So leave a like, leave a comment, and thanks for tuning in.